All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another exciting race in the Hollow Knight All Skills 2021 tournament. This is the 1-2-2-1 bracket, or Swiss, and this match will be between Mudpip and Tsira. I'm joined here by Louis the 16th in
Louis the 1415.
Oh. 1450. All right.
15 on Twitch, 14 in Discord. I make it very confusing.
I'm joined by Louis then. We'll keep it simple.
Louis perfect.
And both the runners are just about ready to go, and we will count them down in a moment and get going.
All right. So I'm not sure if anyone in chat knows Mudpip's PB, but we're trying to look for it. It doesn't look like Mudpip's got a PB on speedrun.com, but we have Tsira coming in with a 101.25, so just on that cusp of sub 1. So with any luck, Tsira might be able to snag a sub 1 run today if she gets a nice PB.
Yeah, it should be an exciting race. I have just counted the runners down, and they will begin in just a moment.
So we've actually got 3 races today on speedrun. So we've got a stacked Monday to start our week with races. I had a race earlier today. We've got Tsira, and then our final race for today is going to be, if I can pull up the right tab, which they're all locked. So we've got our runners doing their drop downs right now. And our final race of the day is, oh, we had one earlier. Sorry, that's my bad. This is our final race of the day.
All right, yeah, so as we see the runners drop in here, we'll see them get some early control with a quick pause and inventory drop into King's Pass. That'll be the first of many showcases of using the inventory drop to both on-cap your fall speed and prevent hard falls. Tsira there had a little bit of trouble learning the Vengefly, but managed to get that little jump onto the platform. Mudpip seems to get it a little quicker, but is having a bit of trouble.
That Vengefly is almost always AFK. I find like he's just staring off to the corner whenever I'm doing my runs, so it's not surprising he's playing with our runners. I'm getting a resync here. And both runners look like they're neck and neck.
Yeah, it looks like Tsira is maybe a second ahead of Mudpip leaving King's Pass here.
Yeah. Runners are going to be making their way here through Dirt Myth, where they're going to be hopping past our best friend Elderbug, and I doubt any of them are going to say hi, but shout outs to Elderbug because he's a cool dude.
Yeah, and something to note is they're hopping here because Dirt Mouth gives you a nice atmospheric little walking animation that doesn't play when you're in the air. So it's a little bit quicker to jump.
And Mayonnaisical pointing out here that Mudpip's got a 108.29 that they posted on February 22nd. So Tsira with a distinct edge on the PBs, but a live race changes everything.
For sure, for sure. Also, it's been a while since Mudpip's posted their PB, and they were saying in the chat that it was their first run in the category. So
Tsira having a bit of difficulty there with the spike. Mudpip snagging one of the aspids in the room, but they're both making their way on through the Vengeful Spirit Split. Say that 5 times fast.
Yeah. It looks like after Tsira's spike troubles there, they'll be just about synced up. Looks like Mudpip's about a second ahead going into this room that they're both currently in with the gomes.
Statue Pogo's our next trick here. Tsira electing to, taking a detour to bait the Venge Fly around the corner, but making her way into the next room.
It was a very long detour. It looked like she might have fell there to the right, and that's why she went all the way around. Mudpip elects not to go for Statue Pogo either, but takes a sort of safety with a double Pogo on the Tick-Tick and the Venge Fly. That didn't lose much time, it didn't look like. Mudpip will gain a little bit on Tsira there. It looks like at this point he's probably about 5 seconds ahead. Yeah, it looks like Tsira might not have her load normalizer on.
Yeah, they're splitting apart pretty quickly. Both runners getting a nice quick kill on our favorite boss that we almost never finish. I do love that the devs put this secret exit, the not-so-secret exit from the boss that you can kind of shortcut out if you don't want to fight him. Very generous of them.
Yeah, it is. It's a good way to show off the power of spells, because you can go and get Vengeful Spirit if you can't beat False Knight and then go back and fight him with that. See if you have better odds. Of course, our runners will have no trouble with False Knight and make it to Vengeful Spirit quickly.
This game is full of dev-intended and dev-non-intended section skips, which we're going to get to see later on when we get down to the Explosion Pogo in Fungal Wastes. So now Tsira's starting to move through the Ancestral Mound here. And this is where the runners can lose quite a bit of time through no fault of their own. The boulder at the end is going to spit 50-50 chances of fireballs or little baby boulders, and we need them to spit one boulder at us.
Yeah, so and for every fireball they spit there, it will be about 1.5 seconds of time loss, so that can stack up really quickly.
So Tsira getting it on the second spit, which is pretty good. And I'm guessing that she's probably going to take the optional bench here coming out of Ancestral Mound.
Yeah, that's an understandable choice because Green Path is a long split with a lot of walking and a death here and a run, as we've seen at least once or twice in this tournament already, can pretty much spell the end of your race. So making sure you're going in on full health is definitely a good decision.
So we're coming up to our first section of sequence breaking in the game, where we're going to use some fireball spit or shots to push ourselves backwards over some ledges that will let us cut through some of the earlier sections of this split. So you're missing some of that geo there, so she's a little low coming out of the boulder.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how she tries to make that up later.
And Mudpip is electing to get some extra soul before doing the boulder. I wonder if Mudpip might be doing a double strat. Oh no, Mudpip didn't get the quick kill on the boulder. So there's a fun little bug where the fireball just kind of sits at the edge of the screen if you kind of position yourself on the right-hand side correctly, and it'll instantly kill it with one fireball.
Yeah, and it's really interesting that shows up pretty much nowhere else in the game. I think there might be one or two other places where it's not useful to use it, but it's pretty much exclusive to that boulder. And just happens to be in a good spot for speedrunners, which is nice.
So coming up to the next Vengeful Spirits skip here for Tsira. Oops. Didn't get the turnaround on the jump, but she's going to try it again, and she was a little bit too low, so she's going to have to take the backup. There is a man pogo that you can do here if the man is in the correct spot, and she's going to bait him over, but unfortunately not go over to the left-hand side to get the pogo off him. And Mudpip doing I believe that guy's name is Jeffrey? I can't remember the nickname for that Vengefly, but getting the backup.
Yeah, fortunately that Dartfly is there for new runners and experienced runners who just miss the Vengeful Spirit skip.
And Mudpip, not even trying, just going for the safety, and we'll see if he does the backup man pogo, which he looks like he's going to do, but these things are so troll. Sometimes they'll run straight off the edge, and then sometimes they'll pause at the ledge and then run again. So Tsira is starting to build a bit of lead with Mudpip lagging behind a bit.
It's worth noting that Tsira, they're actually really close, but
about a
because
6-second difference
of the load issues, yeah.
Chat's doing a wonderful job helping us stay on top of that.
Thank you, chat.
So we'll see if the Moss Knights, and Tsira got the lucky RNG for the Moss Knights. Those Moss Knights can either wander to the left or the right. If they wander to the right, it takes quite a while for them to get back within range for your fireballs to kill them both with the same shots. So we'll see if Mudpip can get the same luck to keep things even.
Yeah, notably, Mudpip went into that first Moss Knight a little bit short on soul and ended up taking some damage to it. So it'll be interesting to see if they will have to heal here, and it looks like they will.
Tsira moving into Hornet 1. Getting our Shaws in early. Tsira is doing a pretty good job of trying to keep Hornet bullied in the corner. Oh, she tried to wake her up with an extra fireball, but got her when she was still asleep.
Oh no, Mudpip is on one mask here.
There we go. Gets the clutch, and I would imagine that he'd probably take a heal off of the mini Moss Charger if he's going to collect soul off of it. And he won't get the chance to. We'll see if he goes somewhere else for backup soul. Yeah, he goes back to the mini Moss Charger to get a heal just for safety.
Yeah, it's going to be a scary Hornet fight here with just two masks. You'd expect that the runners will probably do all right with it, but Hornet can be a very unpredictable boss, so hopefully Mudpip gets nice patterns from her.
Yeah, keeping her bullied in the corner nicely. And now Tsira with the Mothwing Cloak is dashing her way over to our next section, which is the Fungal Wastes, where we're going to run into our next major trick that we perform, which is the Explosion Pogo. There's a number of different ways to do Explosion Pogo, so it'll be neat to see which variant she goes for. Mudpip on one mask, but finishes Hornet off, so he'll get a full refill of health when he quits out here.
That's always good to see. It hurts to see death early in the run in these races.
Despite it being an overlap between any percent, these first number of splits in all skills, I feel like are some of the more difficult ones because they're very front-loaded with a lot of technical movement and tricks like the fireball skips, explosion pogos, as well as doing fights without dashes. So I feel like the run gets easier as it goes. There's some clutch moments in the middle of the run, but once you've kind of finished off the Hornet 2 fight, it feels like the run gets a little more comfortable. So she's going to be going for the standard double bounce, it looks like, and gets a damage tank, so she'll have to go for it again. Yeah,
now, fortunately, health is not super important in the split after the explosion pogo.
So seeing that the spore does 2 points of damage, Tsira is down to 2 masks and decides to take the backup strat and walk her way over to the Mantis Village.
Yeah, and this trip around takes probably about 30 seconds. over getting the E-Pogo first try, maybe a little bit less. So it's not a huge time loss, but if Mudpip can get the E-Pogo right away, it'll likely put them in the lead.
Yeah, it's definitely faster than dying, so especially in a race setting with nerves, it's totally understandable for runners doing some comfy backups. Tsira on 1 HP here and and accidentally hits Fireball and shoots the Fireball into the wall. No, Tsira taking a death here. So this is a moment where Mudpip can make up some time. He's taking a dunk in the acid as the devs wanted you to, but he's still got 4 masks, which is fairly healthy, and he'll have some opportunities to heal if he chooses so, which could definitely put him in a lead here.
Yeah. Now, it looked like what happened to Tsira was that she went up to that big mantis guarding the lever, expecting to have a fireball, and only had 2 hits of soul, and then got hit, and then the panic resulted in the rest.
Mudpip is looking to set up the double bounce Pogo. Oh, he's trying to set up the 2 bounces off the explosion, it looks like.
Yeah, it's an interesting strategy because it's definitely a bit safer damage-wise, but it's far more precise in my experience.
So now our runners are fairly even, having Mudpip fail it a couple times and having to do the backup into Mantis Village. And we'll see if Tsira tries to go for E-Pogo again with a full health bar.
Yeah, Tsira could get E-Pogo here. It would definitely make up for her death pretty well.
We're definitely getting a content race here today. We're seeing lots of sections that you wouldn't normally see for some comfy backups, which is great to see that the runners are trying to make sure that they stay safe. And Tsira, very close on that E-Pogo. She didn't take any damage, so it gives her the opportunity to try again safely.
Yeah, it's always interesting to commentate these races between runners who are still very good, but not necessarily have the consistency of top runners and like the, top 10, 20, because you really do see some interesting strategies that you wouldn't see elsewhere.
Yeah, there's a couple of neat pogos that you can do. And so Mudpip got the pogo there, so Mudpip is taking the lead by picking up Mantis Claw. And Tsira is very close behind here, but she's killed one of the mantis there, so it looks like she's going to go around the long way to climb up the platforms.
Yeah, notably looking at the timer, it looks like Mudpip's actually about a minute ahead here on the quit out. It's unfortunate that our load normalizers aren't synced up, but we will do our best to keep everybody updated on the position.
Our wonderful little chat fairies will help us out by checking the streams, I'm sure. So we're moving on to the Gruzmother section here, where we're going to do our next kind of major skip and trick, where we're going to be intentionally taking a death after we pick up Shaman Stone in order to pogo off of our shade so we can skip our way into Blue Lake and cheat our way into City of Tears without getting the city crest from False Name. False Name.
Yeah, so coming off of Mantis Claw split, it looks like the runners are about 1 minute and 12 seconds apart, according to Rixian in chat.
Interestingly enough, both runners taking a damage at the double gome pogo there. But making their way quickly over to Gruzmother, Mudpip misses a fireball, which is going to put him back a little bit. So this is another moment where Tsira can kind of save some time if she gets a quick first phase on the Gruzmother.
Yeah, notable here is that Mudpip only has 1 fireball worth of soul for this Grizz cleanup, which could make it get out of hand a little bit and lose them some time.
Tsira also missing 1 of her fireballs, putting her at the same disadvantage here, so they're keeping it very even. And Mudpip getting a backwards wall cling storage off his second dash there, not waiting to hit the ground before moving again. Which is always frustrating when you finally do get that nice big wall cling shoot there.
Yeah. Oh, we saw Tsira get a slightly more controlled cleanup than Mudpip, so she will gain a little bit of time there, but she's going to need to do more than that if she wants to come back from this minute deficit.
We're still very early into the race, and a lot of these time gaps between the runners could very quickly change at some of the more technical sections like ISMA skips.
Oh, for sure. ISMA skips are a big one. Hornet 2, if people decide to safety bench or if they take a death, that can be a huge game changer in these races.
Mudpip getting a little unlucky with Shade throwing a fireball at him, which wastes some time, but pretty cleanly gets that skip, and he'll be splashing his way to City of Tears. And Tsira actually killing her soul, and will have to actually reset the Shade skip.
Yeah, so that's going to lose her a solid amount of time, probably about 30 seconds, I believe. So it's just going to solidify Mudpip's lead here.
Yeah. And race nerves are absolutely a real thing. I feel like I'm generally a pretty calm runner, but even today at the start of the race, your heart just starts racing because mentally you know you're in a race against somebody else, whether you're watching the stream or not. It'll be interesting to ask the runners later on if they were keeping tabs on their opponents on the stream, because I know I wasn't.
You know, race nerves definitely get to even really experienced runners, so it's not a surprise to see the occasional mistake like that makes Shade skip.
Oh, Mudpip actually sending one of those husks to the abyss without killing it.
If we look at their Geo, Mudpip is really low on Geo, with only 223 going into Gorgeous Husk here. They're definitely going to need to make some up if they want a clean Kingdom's Edge.
You can pretty safely get away with about 705 Geo going into the dash slash split just by cleaning up the hoppers, but anything lower than that, you have to start killing things like the primal aspids, which are very low return on investment, as they only give you 3 Geo. They're quite difficult to kill.
Yeah, and it looks here like Mudpip's going to be about 20 short of that mark. Oh no, Tsira forgets to visit Gorgeous Husk here.
Yeah, or I mean, she could do it out of order. It actually doesn't make that big a difference other than the fact that she's not going to have the Geo.
Yeah, which is an important distinction. Tsira does realize, though, and quits out.
I would be a rich man if I had $1 for every time I went past dash slash, but usually it's not the other way around. So Mudpip, again, getting another opportunity to widen the lead. So he's got 702, which is a little tight, but he should be able to pick up all the Geo he needs from the hoppers, as long as he doesn't miss any.
Yeah, they will need to kill one extra thing, considering that there is 96 Geo from the usual hoppers killed. But they're only 2 short of the normal ideal amount, so 1 aspid will do.
You need that one Geo. Don't leave that one behind. We'll see you. Oh. So still one Geo standing. Mudpip realizes it and figures out that he's going to need to kill an Aspid.
Yeah, unfortunately, he managed to lure a second Aspid over there to make the situation just a bit more scary. But he manages to make quick work of the Aspids and will make his way to Dash Slash.
So with Mudpip having a bit of difficulty with the Geo cleanup here, Tsira gets a little bit of a chance to make up some time if she gets a clean section here. She's got more than enough Geo. Doing some future saving for our King's Station bench.
Yeah, and that'll save her some stress while leaving Soul Sanctum, where Geo can be a little bit tight, especially considering a lot of it is RNG based as to whether or not it'll be quick to pick up.
It's pretty fortunate in the routing that if you are having Geo issues in the City of Tears area, the husks in the City of Tears are the bourgeoisie, rich section, and each of the husks give you quite a bit of Geo.
Mudpip will now be making their way over to the Watcher's Spire, where they will then head to the left side city and Soul Sanctum, pick up Shade Soul, and dive. And we'll see our first real use of a lever skip in this coming room, where they will hit a lever through the floor to skip having to fight a Great Husk Sentry that current patch has to do. And that's one of the notable differences between the versions.
Yeah, that's the big difference is that when you have access to the lever skip, it completely changes the mid-game routing of 1221 versus current patch. 1221 has the luxury of not having to go and fight Massive Moss Charger back in Green Path later on in the run as well. So there is another backup in the room that Tsira's in right now where you can lever skip to open up and kind of do the room as intended, which is a lot comfier and safer. It doesn't lose too much time, but if it's something that you've struggled with, it is a good alternative.
Yeah, Tsira's getting bullied by the flying husks there, and it looks like she'll head to the safety bench before opening the door, and will show us this nice dash slash lever skip through the door rather than hitting it through the floor.
Always fun seeing the different variants.
Yeah, there's a lot of different safety strats for that room because those flying sentries can really be mean to you.
Mudpip getting bullied a little bit by the Spell Twister, or Soul Twister, but gonna move on to get Shade Soul here.
Yeah, notably, they miss a little bit of Geo from that Soul Twister, and Geo is kind of tight until King Station Stag is bought after Soul Sanctum, so it'll be interesting to see if that causes a problem for them later.
Very luckily, though, at the end, when you do the dive coming out of Soul Sanctum towards King Station, there's a lot of husks there that you can clean up, as well as there's a number of husks on the route into King Station itself. It's definitely not as stressful for Geo count as it is going into the dash slash pickup.
For sure. Picking up Shade Soul, it looks like the runners are about 1 minute and 40 seconds apart. That's still well within the realm of one death or just general gap in like quality of play for the rest of the run. So it still is anyone's race. if someone starts playing really well, especially going into Sanctum, which is one of the more dangerous areas in the route.
Mudpip getting a nice double hit on the Soul Warrior there to start and getting a very clean fight without taking any damage. And these Soul Twisters can just appear anywhere on your screen. They're relentless. So it's nice to see that Mudpip just decides to put an end to that Soul Twister's life and move through the room a little more safely.
Yeah,
it's still going to take some time to heal.
Yeah, they still ran into a little bit of trouble with the follies on the ground there.
So
we see one
Soul Master now.
Yeah, and here we'll see one final /lever skip in Sanctum that will allow us to skip the appropriately named Hell Room, where you have to deal with 3 separate Soul Twisters at once, and is a real nuisance for current patch runners.
Despite our time differences, we have this wonderful sync up between our runners fighting Soul Master at the same time. Mudpip losing a Shade Soul there, which is pretty costly in this fight because you're really looking to get doubles with your Shade Souls.
Yeah, Mudpip's taking a lot of damage early on the Soul Master. Will elect to heal here.
Tsira getting a nice double hit there, and also preserving health moving into the second phase.
Tsira has a much cleaner Soul Master, which will allow her to pick up a lot of time on Mudpip at this point. This fight's dragged on for a long time for them.
It really shows you the difference between getting double hits on Soul Master and getting single hits. Each soul, Shade Soul does about 80 damage, so when you get a double hit, it speeds up the fight quite a bit. And Tsira already moving through the second phase, going on to grab the King Station's stag. I do like Mudpip's Pogo strat on the side-scrolling attack from the Soul Master. So this is actually going to be a really big time delta for the 2 runners, where Tsira is really going to make up some time.
Yeah, it looks like at this point they're less than a minute apart, as Tsira picked up Dive at 25:22 and Mudpip picked it up at about 24:25. So Tsira gained probably almost 45 seconds on that Soul Master fight there.
So some nice movement for Tsira. All things else equal, she can really close this gap very quickly. Mudpip getting the swag door there, getting the wall cling storage off of the / door to hop up onto the wall.
Yeah, so the runners will now be exiting Sanctum to go by the King Station stag. And from there, they will head over to Crystal Peaks, which is probably the scariest section of the run for both new and experienced runners alike, because you don't get to heal for upwards of 5 or 6 minutes, and there's several mandatory damage tanks in the optimal route here.
Yeah, dying at the end of the Soul Sanctum section or in Crystal Heart are some of your longest times to go without a heal. So you're much more prone to taking a death in those splits just because of how long it is in between benches. Mudpip going for a swag grubs save because he's got a... Oh, Just gotta wait for the elevator to come back down. So I believe that in the next little while, Tsira is going to pull ahead into the lead just because Mudpip had some difficulty on the exit from the Soul Sanctum.
Yeah, it's definitely brought it a lot closer. Sanctum was not friendly to Mudpip. Now, while Mudpip is on 1 health here, it will be benching in just a moment, so it is nothing to worry about. Tsira will now be dashing her way over to Soul Sanctum from the Forgotten Crossroads, or from Dirtmouth, I mean. Most other categories will go from the Forgotten Crossroads, but because we have to get dash lives so early and Geo is so tight in this route early on, we actually skip that stag station and just go from Dirtmouth, which is a slightly longer journey, but shorter than the time it would take to get to Geo.
The next possible trick that we have coming up here is in the next room for Tsira, where she might be going for Pog Axe. I'm not sure if she usually goes for this in runs, but if she goes to the right, she'll be attempting Pog Axe most likely, and left, she'll just be climbing up the normal way. Doesn't lose much time to go to the left route. It's only about a 3 or 4 time-second save to get Pog Axe, but it is swag.
Yeah, and it also saves you that hit of soul, those hits of soul for that Shade Soul there, which can save you a little bit of time later on as well.
So Mudpip still with about a 25-30 second lead, comparing to Tsira dropping down at 28:08 and him at 27:45.
Yeah, but that lead has shrunk a lot in the last 10 minutes or so of this run. It's definitely showing that the race is never over until it is over.
Until you drink the Sunny D, it's not done.
Tsira's looking a little low on health. In Crystal Peaks here. Only 3 masks. I assume she'll go for the damageless cycle, which is a little bit tighter on these lasers, but will allow her to not have the damage tank.
Generally in Crystal Peaks, there's a lot of damage tanking done intentionally to hit some specific cycles, but because All Skills has such a large gap between the bench and the last split, and Tsira getting an underplat there, that a lot of runners will elect to take safe strats in Crystal Peaks. So Tsira picking up at about 30, 35.
And Tsira will heal after picking up Crystal Heart all the way up to 4 masks, which should make this next section a decent bit safer for her.
So this is an intense little section coming up for Tsira here. She's got the Crushers coming up as well as the Dark Room. So we'll see if she takes the comfy Crystal Heart dash strats, or if she goes for the purely dash-based cycle in the Dark Room.
And Mudpip here is running into a lot of trouble in God Cycle Room right here. Gets hit by the lasers 3 times, I believe.
Oh, and Tsira getting the wall cling boost right into the Crystal Hunter.
Definitely unfortunate positioning there. She's getting very low on health and will leave the room actually to take a quick heal for safety.
Nothing feels worse than when you dash towards an enemy to try to get soul to heal and you bonk into them and take another point of damage.
It's definitely a very frustrating feeling.
So it looks like Tsira's going to be going for the crystal. Oh no! Going for some crystal heart strats in the dark room. So this is a moment where Mudpip can widen the lead back up again if he gets through the back end of the crystal heart or crystal peak section cleanly. But it looks like both of them are having a bit of a struggle here in the split.
Yeah, Tsira's notably using a rather interesting strat for that dark room with only a single C dash and multiple dashes. But manages to make it through.
Mudpip making use of a soul totem that is rarely seen here in any percent or in all skills, but it's very nice that it's sitting there for him.
Oh no, 1 health in these lasers.
1 HP with the lasers is a nervous spot to be.
Understandably, we see no underplat from Mudpip there. With the nerves of 1 HP, you wouldn't expect it.
Absolutely. So Tsira is making her way through Crystal Mound here to pick up Descending Dark. And we're going to see one of the coolest tricks in the run, in my opinion. I love the visual effect of the dash/slide that we'll see here. As long as you're not at 1 HP when you do this trick, it's very safe.
Yeah, and it's just a fun little thing to see as well as save several seconds. It's always fun to see those little animations where the knight gets stuck in a frame of movement that it's not supposed to be in.
Yeah, similarly, you'll see a weird movement state like that if you do the seer skip after picking up Dream Mail. I call that one Sleepy Dash.
There's a little bit of a swag strat. You can also do some movement entering the Black Egg Temple to get.
Oh, and Mudpip taking possibly the worst death in the run at the Crushers because he hasn't unlocked the bottom route in Crystal Mound yet. However, he has picked up Crystal Heart, so some of his movement through City of Tears could be a little quicker, but it's looking like he's maybe has forgotten that he has Crystal Heart already, as there's some runes that he could have used C-Dash in already.
Yeah, now since Geo is not a major factor for the rest of the run from this point, and he hasn't picked up the Watcher chest, theoretically, Mudpip could just leave his shade and continue on through the dark room. But that would be that would make the rest of the run a little bit riskier, only being able to have 6 soul at a time.
Yeah, he very well could take a bench in King Station or something like that, and then forcibly kill himself on the husks outside of King Station to respawn his soul, and that might be a little bit quicker, but he's going to be improvising from here.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they choose to do.
And I believe at this point, Tsira is almost automatically in the lead.
Yes, this will definitely give Tsira a lead of at least a minute or two by the time Mudpip has recovered.
So yeah, rooms like this is where Mudpip could be using C-Dash to get through. Right here, he could jump up on that little corner that we use at the end of the run before we fight THK to C-Dash across this entire section. But it looks like he's just in the default mode when you're going through these rooms. You don't normally have C-Dash, so you just default to your normal strategies.
Yeah, it's hard to remember you have C-Dash when you're somewhere where you don't normally do. It's probably one of the best advantages of playing a lot of rando as a speedrunner, that you can get used to using C-Dash in weird places to help you recover.
Yeah, I feel like playing randomizer is a very helpful and really fun way to get to know the game better.
For sure.
So Tsira moving into the Watcher Knight fight. She's dropped the Chandelier on one as we normally do to take out one of the Watcher Knights early. And we're just going to spam D-Dark until they're all dead.
Yeah, we might see a few Shade Souls thrown into the mix, depending on if they roll away. But generally, this fight is just D-Dark spams, unless you're really trying to optimize it.
Yeah, if you get a triple hit on them rolling with Shade Soul, it's a little more damage than a D-Dark, but it's so much more consistent to just spam D-Dark.
Tsira here is looking a little bit low on health. She should be fine at 2 masks.
She will get a refill as soon as the fight's done. So it's inconsequential what she ends the fight with as long as she doesn't die. Mudpip back in the dark room now. And he's using the C-dash strats, and it's looking like he's getting them pretty safely here. Oh no, he jumped to the left instead of up on top of the platform.
So as Louis said earlier, Tsira will get a heal immediately after picking up Larian here. So while she is only at 1 mask, it is not a big deal. As long as you make it through the Watcher Knights, thankfully you get to continue on impeded.
And another really important thing to note, Mudpip has elected to leave his Shade behind. So he's moving ahead throughout the run with his Shade locked up by the Crushers. So we might see him taking an intentional death at some point to respawn his soul. If not, he's going to be running with a maximum of 2 spells in the tank for the rest of the run.
Yeah, furthermore, you do pick up about 40 Geo in peaks, which isn't super significant, but it is possible that if he makes it all the way to Hera without picking up some extra Geo somewhere, they could be short for the Stag.
One lucky thing, though, in the Hera split is that Devout's give an absurd amount of Geo, as well as there's some Geo rocks inside the Hera split that you can get about 40 gold from the rocks, and each Devout is, what is it? Is it 40 or 50 Geo from each of the Devouts?
I believe it's 40.
So there's a lot of areas where you can farm some Geo, even if you farm them on the spiders by the Mask Maker coming into the dark section of Deep Nest. Is another really good place to make up some Geo. And Mudpip still just notably missing some sections where he could be C-dashing here.
Wow, Tsira decides not to take the safety bench before Isma skips.
Coming in with confidence.
Yeah, that's a big show of confidence in a race setting.
At 4 HP with a 3/4 full tank here of Soul, we'll see Tsira move on to the triple Ismas, which will be a Spike Tunnel Pogo, followed up by 2 Acid Skips. And Tsira getting the Spike Pogo nicely on the second try.
Yeah, the Spike Tunnel is notably, in most people's opinions, the hardest skip in the set here.
Yeah, I would agree. That one's the trickiest to get the muscle memory for.
And not only is it tricky to get, it's easy to lose. You'll see even really experienced runners sometimes just getting damaged loops on Spike Tunnel.
Tsira now has Ismas, and she's pushing ahead on the lead here as Mudpip is doing catch-up still on the Dream Nail sequence. And Chad is noting about Dreamgate, and Dreamgate, I believe we just consider an extension to the Dream Nail skill, which is why we don't pick it up in this run.
Yeah, and if that seems a little bit arbitrary, to be honest, it kind of is. But if we did consider it a skill, it would make all skills as a run kind of just true ending light.
Yeah.
And there wouldn't be too much interesting in it as a category to begin with. So it's worth leaving it out on that technicality.
Yeah, you do have that nice gap between, like 4 mask runs, which are really quick, any percent, which is about, 30, 40 minutes, and then moving into the all skills at an hour. And then when you start getting into the true ending 106, 112, that's where you start getting into the 2 and 3 hour runs. So Hollow Knight actually has a really nice variety of speedrun lengths depending on what you have the attention span for or time to practice.
Yeah, so Tsira will be making her way here into the Ancient Basin through the Malark Room, which is notably a section of pretty significant RNG. I believe it's technically cycles, but there's definitely, it feels random for most people.
I believe we've only had 2 runners in the entire tournament go through without taking a point of damage in the Maw Lurkers. I know Rhino Feeder being one of them, and I can't remember the second runner. But at least with the final Maw Lurker here, it's just a giant soul totem, and you can farm as much health as you want from it, really. Tsira's going for the face jam jump. It's a very tiny pixel of land that you can do a sideways hop off of. It only saves about 2 or 3 seconds, so a lot of runners will just not go for it or try it once.
Yeah, and Mudpip is fighting the Watcher Knights here, which is a notable spot where their lack of a full soul vessel, because of their missing shade, might come into play.
Yeah, all of the boss fights will be at Mudpip's disadvantage as long as he's on 2/3 of a soul tank.
Yeah, but Watcher Knights in specific too, having 3 spells will allow you to kill each set immediately, while instead they're having to draw out the fight a little bit to get that extra spell.
Tsira having a very clean Broken Vessel fight as well. Getting some nice doubles with the Shade Soul as well as taking advantage of the headbang to get a lot of D-Darks in. And Chat Gidge is pointing out Valley was the second runner to get a no-hit on the Maw Lurker section. So Tsira now has a full movement set up with wings, and we'll get to move on to the Hornet 2 fight.
Yeah, and this is notably the most difficult boss fight in the run by most people's definitions. Because Hornet cannot be insta-killed with D-Dark. It will go on for a significant amount of time, regardless of what kind of damage you have, and she can be very unpredictable.
Yeah, she feels about twice as fast as her first boss fight. It's one of the fights where you generally have to be a bit more reactive than proactive. With most of the boss fights, you can kind of just go ahead and do your maximum damage cycle, whereas Hornet will have some unpredictable and quick movements that will interrupt you if you don't pay attention to what she's doing as well. So another thing to note, because these runners have slightly longer PBs, we might see some safety benches from them here. So Tsira picking up the King Station bench as a backup, so she doesn't have to go all the way from Ancient Basin back up if something happens.
Yeah, and Mudpip is now making their way towards the Isma skips. Picked up the Geo from Larian, which should take them most of the way through the rest of the run here.
So Tsira just nicely pulling ahead here on Mudpip. They both got Lurian at 40, 33, and 37, 28 respectively. So about a 3-minute gap between the runners now.
Yeah, dying in peaks is one of the worst things you can do in all skills. It's really the worst place to go out because it's just such a long trip.
And Tsira very well might be watching the stream and know that she's quite a bit ahead. She picks up a nice relic that we'll never get to see Lem, and she moves on to Hornet 2 after taking the camp bench. And Mudpip is currently at the spike tunnel, which very well could be a very difficult moment for him.
Yeah, Mudpip did not safety bench before these skips here.
So Mudpip does get the spike tunnel, still with 4 masks, which is nice. Another thing that you can do is that there's some flexibility in the routing in any percent or in all skills here. So if you do have some difficulties with the setup for the final Isma skip, you can get wings before actually getting Isma's tiers. So you can reroute it in later. Tsira having a nice fight so far against Hornet.
Yeah, lots of parries, but overall, looking very safe on health.
Yep. Not
Oh no,
too aggressively.
Mudpip dies on the last of the Isma skips to a worm. And that'll just put him further behind. Dying on the Isma skips isn't the worst place to die. It's probably about a minute or so of time loss, but it is still very unfortunate.
So what Mudpip can do here is take the Watcher Spire bench as a safety, and then if he gets too low doing the skips again, he can quit out. So Tsira also takes a death here at Hornet, but she's taking the camp bench, so it's going to be a pretty minimal trip back to go fight Hornet again.
Yeah, there was definitely a bit of a commentator's curse on our end.
Luckily, I don't believe in commentator's curse. I don't think it's a real thing. So we'll see Mudpip hopefully take a backup bench as safety here, and then he can just quit out if he gets too low and go back without losing all of his geo, because if he dies a second time while his Shade Soul is out, he will lose all of his geo, which will make it very difficult for him to pick up the Ancient Basin bench and then the Distant Village stag. Or Hidden Village, then Distant Village.
We have chat discussing whether or not Mudpip lost their geo there. I know he did not lose his geo because he already didn't have a shade.
So he does lose his soul. His soul was back up in the Crushers with Peaks, but it didn't have any geo attached to it.
Yeah.
So it actually respawned a new soul for him, so he will get to go back up to 3 full spells if he manages to get the soul back.
Yeah, now these next 2 acid skips will really be high pressure for Mudpip, because if they die here, they will lose their geo, and that'll really cause problems for the remainder of the run.
I know a lot of runners won't even go into this room without a 1 spell so that they can shoot these warps. Yeah,
it's definitely a pretty common safety strat to see those worms spelled.
And Tsira's going for the early control after the Hornet 2 fight, so as soon as the Knight moves up a pixel, she can start going. She did pick up the visual bug, so her health bar will come back a little bit later. As soon as she benches, it'll become visible.
Yeah, Mudpip wisely decides to quit out on the 3rd Isma skip here to get some health back without dying. Because if they did die there, it would pretty much be an unrecoverable run without.
It would take some very creative rerouting. So Mudpip going back for the 3rd time to Isma's. We'll see if he decides to take the Watcher Spire bench this time, because it does save some time going back from Lurian's tower down. Mudpip is in chat. So with King's Brand under her belt, all of our movement spells, Tsira's going to move up to, talking to Elderbug. Tsira with some good courtesy points there. She's going to move up into our second to last Nail Master to pick up Cyclone Slash. Yeah, we believe Pip. Keep going.
Yeah, you got this, Pip.
And this is like a really unforgiving set of skips that has to happen kind of in the middle of the run. So it is notably kind of a choke point for a lot of new runners in the category because it is so difficult. Like, I do want to reiterate how tricky these skips can be, especially under pressure doing them live on a race.
Yeah, for sure. I don't blame Mudpip at all for struggling here.
Yeah, he's going to go for another quit out. Despite the fact that you can route in wings before going back to Isma's, it's not something I'd really feel comfortable doing for the first time in a race. So unless you've kind of practiced that backup, I wouldn't expect a runner to incorporate that into their route. So Tsira's going to move on to our favorite jellyfish in the teacher's archives, Uwu Umu.
Yeah, and Umu is definitely a notable run killer for top runners who try to go for that one cycle, which if you miss it, will lose about 20 seconds. I think it's closer to 18. But with this kind of lead, I don't think Tsira's worrying about a one cycle.
Yeah, she doesn't really have to worry about getting it. She can just take a comfy 2-cycle. Even if she wanted, she could do the 1-2-2-1 setup, which is very comfortable and safe. Even if you fail the 1 cycle, it pretty much just defaults into a soup 2-cycle as long as you didn't fall off of the platform and miss a couple of Shade Souls. As long as you've only just missed like a double hit or so, it's a very easy 2-cycle.
Yeah, a fortunate difference between this category and any percent.
Mudpip getting the wonky side jump 2 times in a row. Unfortunately, it makes it very difficult to get that spike tunnel skip. And it looks like Tsira is setting up for the 1-cycle attempt here, so best of luck to her. Oh no! So she got 1 fireball in there, but this might end up being a 2-cycle if she can't get some dream nails in on Umu.
Yeah, having a really scuffed 1-cycle attempt on Umu can lead to really difficult 2 cycles.
Nice. Oh no!
Oh.
So Shade Soul pushing her backwards off the ledge, which she wall clinged to, causing her Shade Soul to go off the opposite direction. So she'll get a 3-cycle, it looks like. But Mudpip is still working on the spike tunnels, so she'll have plenty of time to clean up Umu. Chad showing lots of love to Mud. Even if you're struggling through the run, it is really great to see runners push through it and finish runs here. It is understandably tilting when you get stuck at a certain point, but all the extra points to perseverance. I think that's one of the wonderful things with speedrunning too, is the communities are generally very supportive, very positive. I've had nothing but a great experience in all of the speedrunning games I've played.
Yeah, the Hollow Knight community in particular is extremely friendly. Shout outs to all the awesome cuties.
Much love to the cuties.
Community.
Tsira doing the nice left side strats for a quick exit from Umu. Mudpip getting the spike tunnel, moving on to the second Isma. And Tsira is now benched at Teacher's Archive, where we're going to use this as kind of a waypoint for the next two splits. So she'll be moving up to get our final Great Slash, which is our last nail art. And there we go. Mudpip gets the final Isma skip. And he has his soul back and all his geo. Well done. He gets the early control as well from the worms.
Good on Mudpip for finishing strong with those skips. It's always tough to keep going after a rough setback.
I believe Tsira got an uninterrupted base and dash, so we'll see if Mudpip gets lucky as well. Yeah, Mudpip doesn't get stopped by any of the bravas in Ancient Basin.
RNGesus is giving Mudpip his blessing for the remainder of this run.
And Tsira moving very nicely through the kind of secret-y back end of Green Path. The most out of the way and removed from society for the Nail Masters. They're all kind of hermits, but this one's really far. Yeah, most of the skills in Green Path are very out of the way. If Mothwing Cloak wasn't so useful for speed purposes, I'm sure it wouldn't be gotten until well into the run, as it's such a large detour. And so is Wraiths, which makes Shriek pretty much unoptimal in any category, despite being the highest damage spell. And Oro here is out of the way as well. Or Shio. Shio, right? Yeah, I believe Oro is in Kingdom's Edge. Motto is at... oh, that's a really spicy strat from Mudpip there, using the iframes from D-Dark to get past that Maulurker.
Yeah, it's definitely a great safety strat for that room. It'll cost you 3 soul, but if you're going to get hit there anyway and heal, then you might as well do it, because it saves you the time of healing.
Not to mention, it's pretty swag getting to dash through the Maulurker.
And Tsira here is picking up Howling Wraiths, the precursor to our final skill in this run, Bish Shriek.
Yeah, it's pretty neat because you only really use Howling Wraith once in the entire run, and that's to unlock Abyssal Shriek. Yeah,
unfortunately for a level 1 spell, Howling Wraiths is just a bit out of the way.
Not to mention, Howling Wraiths puts you in a bit of a vulnerable position, unlike Descending Dark, which gives you the nice, juicy iframes that protects you from the bosses. Mudpip getting a nice double headbang, which is a really nice area that he could be using to get a lot of descending darks in. And he'll finish up Broken Vessel to move on and get his wings. I believe this is our last lever skip of the run as well that Tsira's doing in Queen's Garden. Moving on to the Dark Deepness segment.
And as I believe Tsira just demonstrated here, the thorny husk in this section of Queen's Gardens on 1221 do not do damage to you with their spikes. It's an interesting oversight that I guess comes from the spikes being on the wrong layer in game. I guess they're technically a part of the background.
So Tsira getting the Bramble Blast skip here. It's kind of a neat little wrong warp where your hazard respawn is close enough when you hit the spikes there that it puts you right at the lever.
Yeah, and while that skip is awesome for saving us time, it does unfortunately mean that Queen's Gardens includes an intentional damage tank that can make the split a little more scary on a low health.
Another nice difference between any percent and all skills is that you have Monarch wings when you're moving through that dropping platform section, unlike in any percent where you're doing it without the safety of the wings in case you slightly missed your mark.
And Tsira will fill up on soul on those husks right there before heading into Dark Deepness. You want to have at least 6 to kill the Devout and Beast Den as quick as possible, and then another 3 is useful for a strategy in this upcoming Dark Room.
So despite the Dark Room seeing a pretty dangerous, Tsira's using some good safety strats like that Descending Dark to drop down to keep herself pretty safe. Especially if you've played a bunch of Rando, you're probably not too unfamiliar with Dark Deep Nest.
Yeah, and the scary things about these dark rooms, of course, is not only the darkness, but that if you run into any of the numerous spikes they put in them, you get respawned all the way back at the start of the room.
Yeah, it's a smart choice by the developers to make your hazard respawn the entrance of the room, because heaven forbid you should get stuck in a place that you have no idea where you are and you just instantly die.
Yeah, it's just an unfortunate factor for us speedrunners.
Mudpip trying to do some funky wall jumps in the corner there, going into Hornet.
Showing off some rando skip knowledge.
So Tsira's going to collect our final Dreamer here. And she'll get to move on to the tail end of the run where we're going to move back into the Abyss to pick up our final skills and then fight THK.
Yeah, the only real point of danger left for Tsira in this run is the Lighthouse Climb in the Abyss. There, the siblings will do 2 damage, so it only takes 3 hits to die. But after that, it's a pretty straight shot to THK. Mudpip, meanwhile, starts the Hornet Fight here, getting some nice D-Darks in.
Yeah, if you're used to fighting THK on either current patch for doing randos, or if you're used to fighting them on any percent, the all skills versions of the final boss fight are a lot more comfortable with access to Shaman Shade Soul or Shaman Abyssal Shriek.
Yeah, the only unfortunate thing about that boss fight being, of course, that you need to get very close to THK in order to do damage with Abyss Shriek. So you can definitely find yourself at low health if you get unlucky with his attacks. Speaking of low health.
Yeah. Mudpip demonstrating that Hornet is at her most dangerous when she's walking casually towards you, but he still manages to clutch out that fight on the first try, move on, and get Kingsprint.
Tsira's actually going to go ahead and take the bench in Hidden Station as a safety before entering the Abyss. It's a nice little race strategy just in case she happens to fall to the siblings.
Yeah, the siblings can be absolutely relentless, especially like you were mentioning on double damage per hit, as well as there's quite a swarm of them too. Swag door for Tsira on the side. Tsira abusing the fact the siblings also have quite a bit of health, and they'll just follow you up the lighthouse while you pogo them. So at this point, Tsira's really out of most danger here. Some unlucky hazard respawns on the Birthplace Climb is about the worst it's going to get for her.
Yeah, meanwhile, Mudpip will be heading back from Hornet 2 to get Cyclone Slash and then off to fight from it.
Tsira taking her nice dip in the void, so we now have Shade Soul, and there's only one more skill for her to collect, which is Abyssal Shriek, where she'll be able to head up to THK. Tsira collecting a nice arcane egg. She's making some investments for stonks later. Maybe we'll see a post-game run over to Lem to cash in. I do love a nice little Helmadelka.
Of course, of course. Tsira is just C-dashing all the way across the Abyss here. Unfortunately, the terrain's a little bit rugged and is interrupting her, which makes this movement very big movement heavy split as she makes her way into Shriek here.
Yeah, notably, when collecting Abyssal Shriek, they provide you that nice little pedestal there. However, as soon as you're actually through the threshold of the room itself, off the ledge of the floor, you can use Abyssal Shriek and it'll do the same thing.
Yeah, of course. With that said, it is the worst feeling in the world to use your Howling Race just outside of the border and have to go get some from one of the crawlids to get some soul to use it again.
As Ryan was mentioning, he's saying it's a little bit faster to use it in the center of the room so you don't have to teleport yourself back to the middle of it. So Tsira now making her way through the most movement-heavy section of the run, which is the Birthplace Climb. And it's very picky about these hazard respawns for you, depending on where you've actually touched on ground last.
Tsira getting the triple spike pogo there, which is notably the hardest pogo in the Abyss Climb. Those spikes are all leaning towards you above your head, and it's kind of precise to hit them and not bonk your head straight into the spikes.
Yeah, you're poking off the sides of spikes, so it's very easy to be a few pixels too close and take a hit. So Tsira's now on her way to release our brother from his sad duty of maintaining the radiance.
Giving Elderbug a nice little goodbye before going off to do her duty.
Mudpip at the 1 HP mark here, so he does need to be careful moving through the Metroid room. I mean, the jellyfish room. And doesn't quite see the jellyfish right behind some foreground hazards. Luckily, that's not so bad of a section to take a death in. Obviously, you never want to have to respawn back, but it's not a big run to go get his soul back again. No Cyclone Night. I don't blame runners for not doing Cyclone Night. As fun as the trick is, it is really nice to try to see what your full time is. So another really nice part about doing all skills fighting against THK is you have access to Shade Soul, which allows you to dash through him on a number of his attacks to stay safe.
Shade Cloak, you mean, of course.
Yeah, sorry, Shade Cloak, yes. I mean,
they're very easy to mix up. There's too many skills in all skills. We can't keep track of which one's which.
Mudpip vengefully killing all of the jellyfish. Getting back up to full HP. And we'll get a GG for Tsira here as she finishes off the fight. Very clean THK. It's looking like it's going to be just under 108. 107.52. Well done, Tsira.
Yeah, GG's, Tsira. Meanwhile, Mudpip is approaching Umu right here. It'll be interesting to see if he goes for one cycle or if he just goes for a safe two. I will switch over the audio to Pip here.
There we go, got it. So it's looking like he's going for the one cycle. Oh, didn't quite get that last fireball out, but should be a really easy two cycle to clean up for Mudpip.
Oh. Nice. Just barely manages to get that last Shade Soul on.
But a big kudos to Mudpip for toughing it out, despite having some big roadblocks at the Isma's triple set, still continuing to finish the run. You do love to see it.
Well, looks like Mudpip might be debating here.
Maybe not.
It is, of course, the runner's choice whether or not to finish when the race ends.
So it looks like Mudpip is gonna call it a day here. And I guess we'll get the runners ready to see if they're gonna do a post-game interview with us. So
Mudpip will at least make the
Give some
friendly
courtesy.
gesture of talking to Elderbug.
GG though, Mudpip. Those ISMA skips. Yeah, those ISMA skips are a very big hurdle when learning the all skills run. So we'll send Mudpip a message and see if he's gonna join us for an interview here. Oh, it looks like Mudpip's going to go see our favorite miner. Chat, oh no, is Mila going to die? Gidge is in chat. Gidge will be very upset if Mila takes a death. Tsira taking this time to just free a couple of low-hanging grubs.
All right, looks like we have both runners in the Discord now, so we will bring them up to the chat for an interview as soon as they're ready.
Hello.
Hello.
GG Tsira, GG Mudpip.
GG.
You there, Tsira? Oh, just your... We'll turn your volume up a little bit. She's quite quiet.
Yeah, I'll try and do that.
Is this any better?
Yeah, that's a little bit better.
Be much better.
Okay.
So how did both of you feel about the run?
I'm honestly a little bit disappointed in myself with that early game.
Mm-hmm.
It was horrible.
Yeah, it hurt to see the autopilot over to Dash Slash instead of Gorgeous Husk.
That and the death and fungal.
That as well.
But I mean, it gave us quite an interesting content race as it was developing through that early to mid game between the two of you, taking turns being in the lead, which was pretty exciting. Mudpip, any thoughts or feelings about the race?
I feel like it goes without me saying that I'm not proud of myself for that race.
I mean, despite not being able to finish, there's definitely some good moments. So were there any sections that you were practicing coming into the run that you were particularly happy about?
See, the thing is, I've had a really busy week and I haven't had any time to practice, and that probably led up to what happened. So, yeah.
I mean, it's very understandable. Life obviously takes precedent in a lot of priority settings, so that's very understandable. But thank you so much for putting in the extra effort to continue after the spike tunnel. I know everyone was really excited to see you get that. So to both the runners, are there any sections after your race today that you're looking to work on?
Early splits 100%. Gotta practice that explosion pogo.
General movement, later splits.
So I personally feel like the run is kind of front loaded with difficulty for me. Do either of you feel like you have a stronger front end of the run, middle game, or end game of the run?
Honestly, I've practiced. This is gonna sound ridiculous, but Dash Slash until the end of Crystal Peaks, I feel pretty confident with. I've just practiced that more than anything else.
Yeah. So do either of you run any other categories that helped you through the run here? Like any percent or some of the shorter categories?
I've done one run of 100%, or like 1 or 2 runs, and some all glitches meme categories, so I doubt I had much help. Most of it's probably from random.
I honestly, this is my first category. I've done a couple randos, but most of it's just from spending way too much time on all skills.
Yeah, it's awesome to see this tournament encouraging people to learn the category. I think we've seen a lot of runners start with running or start seriously learning a main category for this tournament.
Yeah, absolutely. Do we have any questions from chats, or do the runners have anything else that they want to add in?
All right, barring any additional questions, it looks like we will wrap up the post-game interview here. Thank you everyone for watching. Thank you to the racers for putting on a good race for us. And thank you to Louie for doing a great job co-commenting with me.
Thank you so much for calming both Spicy and Louie.
Yeah, great job, Spicy, and thanks again to SpeedGaming for hosting our tournament here. It's been absolutely fantastic having them host our races.
Is it alright if I give a shout out to the person that's basically taught me most of what I know?
Sure, absolutely.
So huge shout outs to Rhino Feeders. I attribute a lot of my skill to just everything he's taught me.
Awesome. And I know Rhino was in the chat watching you throughout the run, so.
He was also in voice with me.
Ah, awesome.
So.
Keeping you up to date with what's happening, hey?
Pretty much.
Great. Well, I think that about wraps it up for us here. So congratulations, Tsira, on the win. And hopefully, Mudpip, you stick with it, because you managed to get that spike tail, and it's the hardest part of the run. So I'm sure with some more time to practice, you'll be doing fantastically.